It was as if there was a war in the sky. Thunderous lightning erupted infinitely from that miserable sky. Wind whipped and lashed the poor trees, and the rain engulfed the earth. The three made quite the team. If the thunder wasn't intimidating enough, maybe the gale winds and unforgiving rain would send you dashing for refuge, at least until the storm passed. Morning came, but the sky was still riddled with gloomy clouds. A wispy wind had gently brought forth a dense fog. A frail man emerged from his hollowed sanctuary, noticing that the tree was probably a better place to be, since he was lacking visibility in the marsh, and the forbiddingly cold, murky water was up to his knees. Unconcerned with his well-being, the frail man fretted not, and decided to carry on aimlessly. A soft hum arose and echoed across the marsh, as if someone had struck a gong. Unsure of what lay ahead, the frail man trekked the murky waters heedlessly, and the hum grew louder. The sound led the frail man into a clearing, and then abruptly halted, leaving his mind with only the sound of his thoughts. Then he took a step. A loud crackling sound boomed in his ears, startling the frail man, causing him to jump, only to realize his foot had been skewered by something beneath the murk. He lifted his leg and was immediately transfixed with his wound. His foot was gored by a shard of glass. He acted recklessly, ripping the shard from his foot, subsequently howling in raw pain and despair. He dunked both his foot and the shard into the murky waters, and then pulled the clean shard out. He was enthralled with the shard, and almost instantaneously the pain in his foot seemed absent, non-existent. The frail man trembled as he gazed at the glass. It was as if he was a child again. And all of a sudden, he was playing fetch with a charcoal black dog. It stared at the toy in my hand, twitching with anticipation and pure desire. One of us was bound to make a move. Was it my fault? His grasp tightened, and the glass cracked, leaving both his hands bloodied and torn. Unsureness and distrust began to plague his mind as the man studied his surroundings. Aberrant, tall, barely visible specter-like figures were in the distance. The entities weren't moving. Maybe they were just trees? Condemned with paranoia, he turned back to the glass and looked for solace once more. I opened the door, promptly greeted by a friendly face, followed by meaningless greetings and catching up with one another's lives. Should I have done something differently? It didn't take a long time until we were playing games and making other forgettable memories. Then the door closed. How could I be so blind? The frail man clutched the glass even harder than before, chipping off little pieces this time, and charged with dejected rage and a sense of helplessness. He looked into the fog again. The incorporeal figures were even closer than before. Dread disturbed his already conflict-rattled mind, and he sought consolation from the traumatized glass for what seemed might be his last time. Things seemed odd this time. He was not young. He was still in the marsh. The approaching shades were no longer in sight, but there was one sole tree in view. The waters were crystal clear, but the frail man proceeded cautiously regardless. As he came closer to the tree, he recognized it. He had found what sheltered him in the storm. Even the tree was different. The hollow entrance was replaced by a strange, human-sized door. He opened the door and found a cramped space with flat walls. Just enough room for him to fit. He crept into the cranny and shut the door, leaving him in sightless, in unadulterated darkness. Is this my resolution? Opening his eyes, all hope, confidence, and faith drained from his once innocent soul. The boy was right in front of him. He dropped the now completely shattered glass and hugged the boy. Motionless, speechless for what seemed like an eternity, until the boy felt cold. The frail man stepped back and looked upon a skeleton. The boy was gone. Nefarious feelings began to manifest in his heart. Apparitions surrounded the frail man, towering over him, blocking out what little light pierced the clouded sky. And everything was stationary for some time, as if the world stopped spinning. Even the shadowy figures refused to budge. Nothing seemed to last. The silence was startled by the grinding of bones. Now upright and vacantly peering at the frail man, the skeleton extended his hand, offering a simple handshake.